Top and start at the bottom.
Kev, that's you? Yeah. Yeah, we just build you up, bro. What's up?
Come on, man.
No, we just build you up.
But why? I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm homeless, man.
We just go around bailing people out.
Nah, but where am I going? Oh, man. Why you bailing me out, though?
I'm saying we do like goofy bails and stuff. Relax.
I ain't got nowhere to go. I got nowhere to sleep. It's cold out here.
We gonna get you something to eat.
Find a place how you can get me back in there.
We gonna get you some.
How you get me back in there?
Yeah. Back to Jimmy Dore.
So they did it to Trump again. His advisors, I showed you before, they lied to him about the Supreme Court decision where the Supreme Court ruled against Trump's deportation policy of that guy Garcia 9-0. And then Stephen Miller told him right to his face, no, it was 9-0 in our favor. So Trump doesn't know. Trump also doesn't know that that guy they deported, he holds up this picture saying, look, he has MS-13 written right on his hand. Mm-hmm. That is not written on his hand. Someone photoshopped MS-13.
They're saying that's what each symbol represents.
They're saying that this symbol of marijuana, the symbol of marijuana stands for M, and the smiley face stands for S. Skip the other finger, because that doesn't mean anything, and we just jump right to the skull for 13.
Yeah, I would like to know how it means the 1 and the 3. Like, hey, I could believe you with the marijuana and the smiley face. I see the thing, but I'm not seeing with the cross how the 3 is a skull and whatever. Although I will say, there's a very strange thing you get on your hand, sure.
Yeah, but so that's
was he here legally?
So there it is. So you can see, so you can tell that that's actually not a tattoo. That someone put that on the picture of that. It's not that they didn't tattoo MS-13. They're saying that these symbols mean that.
Okay.
Okay, Trump doesn't know that. He hasn't been told this.
So oh my God.
So he thinks, and here's what the guy's hand really looks like. That's the guy. He looks more like Trendy Agua, like Perrier more than Trendy Agua. So, and there's his hand, and that's what it looks like. There's no M. So now Trump has this meeting with this tool from ABC, and Trump firmly believes that this picture that they showed him he believes that the guy had it tattooed on his hand. I firmly believe Trump believes that because we've already seen it. I've already showed you his advisors lie right to his face on camera.
So he didn't think someone put numbers on there. You're saying he thinks that's on the hand.
He thinks so. Cause watch what he does.
Okay.
He wasn't a member of a gang, and then they looked, and on his knuckles he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
But wait a minute.
So you think Trump would just? So the reporter wants to move on. He goes, "There's a dispute about that," and you think if Trump knew that was photoshopped, he would just let the reporter move on. But he doesn't know it's photoshopped. I am convinced he doesn't know. And so so Trump keeps beating this dead horse. Watch this.
He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime.
He doesn't know. Trump literally doesn't know. That's a guy. He's being sincere because if he was lying, if he knew better, he would just let it go. He would have let the reporter move on to the next sex subject. He wouldn't keep hammering this.
How did they notify him? By tweet of this?
And now, watch what he does to the reporter.
You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had.
I like, some people like Donald Trump because he comes right out and just admits everything. He just blatantly stated that he doesn't know who this reporter is, but he only brought him in because he thought he was going to be compliant. That's beautiful. Everybody get ready for the first deportation of a reporter during an interview.
It's about time.
Yeah, watch.
But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
You want me to show you the picture?
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS, as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They
Take a
weren't
look
there,
at the
but
photograph.
they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look at that.
It's you do
We'll take a
such
look
a
at that.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
So that is, for me, that is proof Trump doesn't know. They showed him a picture. They said he's got it on his hand. And you wanted, I'm going to show you again. Here's Stephen Miller completely lying to Donald Trump, completely, about the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court ruled 9-0, saying that the administration had to facilitate this guy with the tattoo, that his release from prison in El Salvador. So the Supreme Court, the Republican-controlled Supreme Court, voted 9-0 against Donald Trump. And here is his advisor telling him that they voted 9-0 in his favor. Why?
Supreme Court's asking to...
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor against the district court ruling.
So
what's happening?
So he's doing that. He's doing that in front of J.D. Vance. He's doing that in front of Marco Rubio, Pam Bondi. They all know he's lying.
Look at their faces.
They all know it.
What is happening?
Do you know the only person who doesn't know that Stephen Miller's lying is Donald Trump? And I 100% believe that.
When you told me that he believes it, I was like, okay, he believes it after the very first line he said after.
Yeah.
I had no idea that he was going to go that far of believing it, where it's conclusive. There's no question he believes it.
No question he believes it. And here's what the actual ruling was. The order properly requires the government to facilitate Aboriginal Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. That's what the Supreme Court says. And you just saw Stephen Miller lie about that. So his advisors are lying to him, and they lied to him about the tattoo on that guy's finger or on his hand.
On camera? Why would you do that?
So, and here's from the Independent. Trump argues with reporter over MS-13 tattoo. Photoshop claims you're not being very nice. Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. The Republican complained that Terry Moran was not being very nice during a tense exchange in which they discussed, okay. Mr. Trump pointed to an image of Mr. Abrego Garcia that he claimed showed him with gang tattoos on his knuckles. The image has been sharply challenged. Critics say the photo has been digitally altered. No other evidence links Mr. Abrego Garcia to the gang. They have no evidence.
Why did it say his name was Aboriginal Garcia?
I don't know why they said that. But there it is. So that's obviously not MS-13 is obviously not a tattoo. They were trying to interpret these symbols as being, so that's called a stretch.
Look, Jimmy, it's possible that, because remember I made that joke that if MS-13 ever figures out not to put MS-13 literally on their face, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So maybe they did work out a code, but never mind that now. Trump thinks that the interpretation is on his hand.
Yeah, he literally thinks that. And so he says you're not being very nice. Whereas if this was Joe Biden would threaten to do push-ups on the reporter's face and then have security beat him up outside.
Yeah, true. The interview wouldn't have lasted that long.
So the MS-1 and 3 are clearly photoshopped to show a theoretical correlation of the images to the letters and numbers, which, by the way, is plausible.
Yes, that's what you're right.
But the president thinks, no, he doesn't think, he actually believes he actually had MS-13 on his knuckles. That's what Trump literally thinks. He doesn't think that these symbols correlate to MS-13. He literally thinks that this is not photoshopped.
What would be the point of the symbols if you're just going to put MS-13 anyway? Why would you even have the symbols then? But you know what's scary is, okay, he's an old man with old man eyes, which I am rapidly becoming. What's scaring me is they're lying to him about it on camera in front of everybody. Why are you doing that?
So the White House, when asked if Trump believes Abrego Garcia actually has MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles, said, ask any law or immigration enforcement official who's been on the ground about Kilmar Abrego Garcia's tattoos. They're MS-13. So that's a politician answer. They're saying, they're not saying literally, they're not answering the question. Some gang experts told CBS it's unclear whether Abrego Garcia's tattoos include any MS-13 symbolism. So they're saying that it's a symbol. Trump's saying, no, it's literally the letters. And
you could make the case it's a symbol very easily. There's no need to lie to him and say that the image. I mean, that's so insane. I don't even know what to. I'm blown away by what I just saw.
Did they bring in Tom Hanks from the Da Vinci Code for this? So I like this. This is funny. Reminder, Trump completely ignored Garcia's I Love USA tattoo.
MS-13 does love USA.
So, of course, this is photoshopped. That's why it's funny.
Oh, I thought I had Trump eyes and thought it was a real tattoo.
No, I Heart USA.
I thought it was real because it's small on my screen.
All right, over to stuff.
All right,
I could be president.
You could be president.
Here we go. Notice how Tim P and Luke R have gotten more friendly with Israel. Gaza is non grata, Yemen okay. Wonder who is going to help stop this youth that has become anti-Israel. Time to watch creators. Truth teller, Mr. Manatee. Oh, hold on. There you go, Mr. Manatee. Barefoot in AK, RFK Jr. came out today and admitted HHS will no longer be child trafficking. It's on X. Great show, by the way. Much love to all from Alaska. Thank you for that,
Okay.
Barefoot in AK. Back to Jimmy.
So